Hi everybody, it's November 3rd, 2025. Many times we just hit bumps in our life where it shakes us enough to help us realize, or to facilitate us to realize, that life is constant. Life doesn't stop. Occurrences may stop, and they may stutter, and they may come back. Windfalls may be few and far between, but these little jolts in our consciousness remind us that life is ongoing. It doesn't stop, and we have to be here for every nanosecond of it. Even further, even smaller than that, we have to be here for the entirety, even the littlest parts of our lives. And so realizing that, it kind of frees you by giving you an understanding that life isn't not a big deal. Life is a big deal. And if you're there for the entirety of it, that must mean that you have some say-so. That must mean that you have some potential to impart your influence on your life. And you do, because that's the gift that God gave you. So that brings me to the thought of the demise of distractions. When I was younger, I was really into being creative and just consuming and expressing and creating, my passions, my interests. And I would get to certain spots in my life where maybe I wanted to read a lot. So I would read dozens of books back to back. And it was a hunger to gain happiness from being completely consumed by my reading or whatever it was that I was doing. And I would find that after a few books or a few weeks of this devotion to this distraction, that I would peak and I wouldn't find the resolution in my other parts of my life. And I wondered why. I wondered why, if I was doing something constantly and consistently that brings me happiness or brings me a little bit of gratification, why wasn't I completely satisfied with my life? And that's the demise of distraction. We come to find that no matter how long and how often and how consistently we take our eyes off the main road of our life, we can't get away from the responsibility of tending to our life and living our life. And so the demise of destruction is when you find that the demise of distraction is when you find that no matter what you do, how much you like something, how often you do it, you still have to live your life, and you have to go through tedious parts and yes, sometimes painful parts. And that fact may seem damning at first, but as you get older and as you get a finer look at your life, a more precise look at your life, life has eras inside of eras. So you may think you're at a boring part of your life, but inside of that, you've had small jolts of excitement, of thrilling experiences. They may be very small compared to that overarching era of boredom in your life, but they were there. And so the question becomes, why can't I just enjoy my life? Why can't I just be pleased and be pleasantly peaceful and in agreement with my life? And that's the deeper question. That's the one that bugs us sometimes. And it just gets me to thinking, like, being unfortunate, or thinking you are unfortunate when you're actually not, but thinking you're unfortunate and living this life and soldiering on is in fact a great gift. And I know that may seem like an excuse for not having a good life or happy life, but it's not. The struggles that we go through, I believe, are God's love for us, because for one part, we can't know what relief and peace and pleasure is like without a contrasting agent in our life. Because if it was all easy, then there would have to be something there to counterbalance it. That's just the nature of this realm reality. So that's one point. And a second point I would put onto that is that there's a pushing through a barrier, an upper barrier that we have to breach sooner or later. And this comes with high level of spirituality. Your love for God should drive you insane at some points. And so when you go insane for God, you could just smash through the upper ceiling and reach pleasure that you haven't experienced before. When you go crazy for God and you fall on your face willingly and you hit the ground, right then at that point, when you go crazy for God, there's going to be revelations. There's going to be reparations for what you've been through and for the devotion you give to Him. That's a higher level of spirituality. A lot of things will detract you from getting to that point. A lot of doubt will confuse you and turn you against yourself before you get to that point. But that's the upper level of coming to congruency with your life and with your everyday struggle. So this is why distractions are only temporary. This is why distractions can only impart so much pleasure and peace before you come back to the realization or the conclusion that your life is not continuously pleasurable. And that doesn't mean that you are a bad person. That doesn't mean that you are unworthy or untalented or weak. It's just within this world, there are things that need our attention. And an absolute deluge of pleasure and leisure is not the answer until it is. So I hope this helps. Thanks.